met about a year and a half ago. Um, and so I'll give a little bit of my military service. I did, like as Jordy said, 7 years in the 75th Ranger Regiment. I was in 375 down at Fort Benning. I don't know how many Army guys we got here, but if you do, you probably know Ranger Regiment. A lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I did 4 combat deployments: 2 to Afghanistan, 1 to Syria, 1 to basically, well, Sudan, but we were stationed in Djibouti, which was interesting. So a lot of Navy guys will understand. Maybe some of the Marine guys should know what Djibouti is, but weird base compared to what I was used to. Swimming pools and everything crazy like that. So, but yeah, I had a lot of fun doing that. And when I was getting out, I had always planned before I even joined the service that I was going to be a pilot one day. I joined the service just like, whatever, it was interesting, sounded fun. Plus, I was like a fourth generation Army at that point. And I got my degree in aviation to go be a pilot. I did all the courses I could do. I did public speaking courses. I did Lean Six Sigma. I got up to a green belt. I did a lot of stuff to prep to get out. But the funny thing is about all of that is maybe to some extent, which I still think I struggle with this, but the public speaking is probably the only thing that I actually use. My degree, all my courses that I did while I was in, not that I'm saying it's wrong to do that. I'm glad I have my degree. Um, I don't use it at all. None of that stuff have I used. But still, having a goal in mind is best. Jordy will say all the time, like, you got to have some kind of idea. You can't just go in and be like, let me hit the like send in a resume to every 10,000 jobs and not knowing exactly what you're getting yourself into. You need to have some kind of goal in mind. Seven Eagle kind of got me into the mindset of sales, if you will. I, helped with the recruiting here. And I did all right, I think, but it was an opportunity to learn about a whole nother world of making money. And going down that, I started while I was doing, Seven Eagle. I realized that there's a lot more to sales and like your goals than what you originally think. So I started doing every type of sales job possible. I got my life and health insurance licenses, which was garbage. I hated insurance, but if it's something for you, go for it. You can make a lot of money doing it. I did sales rep, door-to-door knocking for True Green. I did sales rep for a company called Dry Brew, which also was on Seven Eagle. I like hitched on them for a little bit, did some sales, and it was through me just getting my feet out there, exploring. I volunteered for all kinds of sales jobs, just trying to go have commission, just getting experience. And I was doing a lot of traveling, which was where I think is the most benefit, is getting out there, doing it real time, learning to speak in front of people, doing the sales and everything. I was at a air show in Miami, which Dry Brew paid for me to go down there and sell their dry brew to all the aviation companies down there. And appreciate that. And one thing that happened was I was sitting at the booth and I was selling dry brew all day. It was like super successful. I was handing them out like candy. Like, it's just like a little coffee chew. It's basically candy, but actual coffee. And the owner of the company that I work for now was sitting at a booth directly across from me, and he walked over to me and said, "You want a job?" Like that. That's literally how it happened. And his other salesman was directly behind him. He said, "This guy, he literally said, this guy sucks. I need a military guy," because everyone knew at the point that I was a military guy. And he said, "I need someone who's, who has the drive that I had, and who would just be out there, just willing to work and have the energy to go out there and make sales. Because let's face it, sales, you got to have a lot of energy, you got to have a lot of drive, and that's kind of how it happened. It was super simple. I never sent in a resume. I never had an interview. My interview was simply working, which is, I'd say, for everyone that's getting out of the military, unless you already have like the perfect goal, it's already lined up and everything, try a little bit of stuff. Try, if you are interested in sales, go for it. Because where I'm at now, I can tell you, I'm very well off. I've been very blessed for my goal, and I have. Being a director of sales, you instantly, the average director of sales make anywhere from 150 to $300,000 just in base salary. I also get 2% of all commission of everything that anyone sells in this company. So if you go down that route, the opportunity is endless. So getting out there, volunteering, and be willing to travel and speak in front of multiple people to show your expertise is where you're going to get the attention to show your skills. And then one thing that I would did learn that it was hard to take at first was that unfortunately at first no one's going to care about your military service. It's just how it is. Civilian world, they'll always say nice things about you serving, but no one cares that you served in the military. Honestly, it's whenever you actually go out there and you're performing, that's when they see the difference. It's not going to be in the resume time frame. It's not going to be what it says on that resume. That you're in the military doesn't matter. They won't care. They will not care. They will not benefit you any way, shape, or form in getting that job unless you're going for a job like at Border Patrol, which was another route I almost did. I almost joined Border Patrol. I got a the only reason I didn't do Border Patrol was because it took too long. It took like 3 months. I needed a job at the time. I got her out of the military, and it just took too long. So I started doing sales jobs, and I'm glad I did, honestly. But you can you can go around and you can find good jobs where your military experience has benefits in those government jobs. But when it comes to the civilian sector, they will not care, sadly enough. So, what I would say that is, like I said, is best for everyone is to just get yourself out there. I was doing very low paying sales jobs at first, like I said, True Green and Dry Brew. I didn't make much money off that, but it taught me something to be able to speak and talk like a civilian, to be able to not just have military jargon in all my conversations, constantly talking about the military. Those things will honestly bring you down in the civilian sector. Just getting that real life experience is what's most important. Easier said than done. I understand that. But that's kind of a little bit about my story. I got very lucky. Very blessed where I'm at. And I definitely encourage everyone in military to take the sales route. There's obviously other routes as well. But you have the opportunity to make endless amounts of money. Yes, Jesse.
Hey man, thanks for coming to speak to us. I'm actually probably going to get into AI consulting, which is kind of like sales, where
Okay.
we reach out to companies and try to sell them the product that we're selling, right?
Mhm.
I guess my question is like, I guess what are your thoughts on AI consulting? Do you have any experience with that or looked into it at all?
Actually, I hear from you guys all the time with my job, to be honest. It really depends on what exactly you are offering. I have a lot of SDR AI agents. Tried those before. They weren't very successful for what I do. You have to also realize I'll tell a little bit about my company here in a minute, but what we do is a niche within a niche. Okay, it's not just normal stuff. So our when it comes to AI consultants, you'll have to really focused on the right company. I think it's definitely a good thing considering that AI is coming up so much. I use AI all the time. I use it to help build my quotes. I use it to some of my emails. I do it to track some of my clients. It's very useful. So I'd say you're in the right realm because AI is very pertinent. You just have to target the right company.
Cool. And then follow-up question to it is one of the appeals is that, I've been told that you learn so much by doing sales. Was that kind of like your experience too? And what you were doing, like say you were trying to sell something that you weren't familiar with, and then because you were selling it, you got really, knowledgeable about it.
Oh, definitely. I mean, everything. I can tell you what grass you have in your lawn now just because I did True Green. I mean, it's funny enough, but that's something like you'll learn a lot about the product. I can tell you whenever you need to sink in, uh, go and put weed out, pre-emergent, post-emergent, all that crap. It's funny stuff you'll learn. You'll learn the product. And now that I'm doing the technical side of sales, where in a sense I'm selling explosion-proof aerial lifts, it's we're all manufactured here. I, as the sales director, was out at Robins Air Force Base changing out a motor and putting on tires, which is odd enough. And that's not even my job, but I learned how to do it just from being around talking to the guys and walking out in the shop. And I was able to help a dude because we ran out of time, change 14 damn tires and put in a whole brand new motor and explosion proof box. So you will learn, but the biggest thing that you'll learn, it's not important about what the company is. It's not. You'll learn about the company, whatever, and what they do. That's not important. The important part is being able to talk in front of people, being able to be relatable, to be likable, and then also to understand how the sales process works for each company because they change dramatically from each one. And that's what's something I learned because doing sales with Seven Eagle vastly different from doing sales from True Green, doing sales with Dry Brew, and way different from doing sales with the company I'm with right now. So just having an ability to learn and be quick on your feet and having the drive, that's what's important in sales. It's not about the company.
Thanks for that
Cool.
question.
Thanks, man.
Before we get into Bailey and what you do now, and I believe he even has an opening on his team if anyone's interested, but I want to talk about the mentality you had. You touched on it here, but I just remember you during SkillBridge. I'm like, where's Tim today? And somebody's like, oh, he drove down to some convention in Florida or something. I was like, you
Oh
were
yeah.
constantly like getting out there and talking to people. I know it was sort of like in the sales environment, but you were never afraid to go out and meet people and have conversations and listen to them. And you just had an open mind to everything. And like you said, that's why that job happened. The guy didn't care about your resume, he didn't care about your past experience because he's got to watch you in action for probably 5 hours talking to all these potential customers. He's like, there's my guy, I got him, right?
Yeah.
And talk a little bit about why you had that mentality, why you had that, that you weren't afraid to go out there and how that really helped you.
Well, I find funny enough, you would not believe it, but I don't know if I've ever told anybody 7 years ago. I grew up in the mountains of Montana. I was homeschooled. I knew no children of my age when I was growing up. I did not know how to talk to people when I joined the military. I was that kid whenever showed up the basic training and everybody fucking hated. Oh, sorry, my language. Because no one knew who I was. I couldn't talk to anybody. I was just terrible. I mean, terrible. So if you think right now that you can't talk to someone, you will learn. And because I think I had that, like, oh shit, I have to learn fast when I joined the military, I have always carried that. And I've seen it both ways with the military where you learn to be a very good go-getter. Usually in special operations you do see that, and I've also seen the military where you're very lazy, unfortunately. So I wouldn't say it's always your military service that drives that. It's just that you have to have that mentality that you will not fail, which is supposed to be a military drive, right? But it's not always implemented, unfortunately. But you should have that. And no matter what, if you want to be successful in the civilian world, it is scary. Unfortunately, you have to have that drive to go out and meet people and not be afraid to talk in front of people, not be afraid to be embarrassed, because unfortunately, you feel like, oh, I've done this many years of service, I know what I'm doing. You don't know what you're doing in the civilian world, unfortunately. It's just how it is. And I didn't, for sure. And you just have to go out there and see what happens. You're going to fall on your butt. You're going to not succeed at first. I was scared like crazy when I got in the military because I didn't have retirement. I ended up getting disability, which I can go into that for everyone and how to do that properly at some point in this as well. But it's just simply having that mentality was what saved me, if you will, and
Yeah.
that's what everyone has to have.
And then you also like, I'm sure a lot of these things, like you went to these conventions or wherever they sent you, like you weren't getting paid for that. It was like you said, it was like a volunteer, but you stepped
Yep.
up. You're like, hey, here's a chance to maybe be around some people, learn things, introduce myself. And that's such a part of this. It's just like the more people you can get in front of, the more opportunities happen. I'm sure you showed up at that convention not thinking I'm gonna meet somebody who's gonna change the trajectory of my life today, right? It
No,
wasn't
no.
You weren't finding them on Indeed and applying like other people. You made your own opportunity there, and I
And
love that.
that wasn't the only one I went to either. I wasn't successful in my first one. I went down to, like you said, I drove down to Florida to speak to a guy who was actually in the security sector. I was trying to sell his company to he had security guards for schools. That's what his company does. And I went down there to build relationship with him I became a security guard for him at his convention. I was there for some mayor of Florida. I don't know who he was. I was protecting him on election night in November of last year. And I just was a security guard, and I built relations with this guy and talked to him. Did much come out of it? Not really. I mean, I know the guy well, and I've directed him to a couple different schools, and I helped him a little bit. I got like 2 sales out of it, but it wasn't super successful. And then the next one, I went down to Dallas, another air show, and nothing came out of that. I mean, like I got sales for Dry Brew, but I didn't like
Yeah.
speak to anybody too important. I mean, I did speak to the owner of what is it, Camping World or something like that. I was thinking billionaire, he had his own jet, but I used to meet cool people. That was the only thing that came out of that. But wasn't until my third show that happened
Right.
where I actually got offered a job.
And
And so it's
you never know when it's gonna happen. It could be waiting in line at Starbucks and you strike up a conversation, but you gotta just have the mentality that Tim has, I think is so important to not just don't be scared to talk to people. Don't be nervous. Don't be awkward. Just be yourself and strike up those things because you never know what can happen. That's awesome. All right, tell everyone, Tim, about Bailey. Tell them exactly like what you guys manufacture, the product, and then what your day in the life is like. And
Yeah, absolutely. So, Bailey Cranes is a company that manufactures explosion-proof aerial lifts. It's not as cool as it sounds in the explosion-proof area. You're like, oh, that's bomb-proof. Not really. It's just what it does is we make like boom lifts or scissor lifts into where they have these explosion-proof boxes surrounding a lot of the electric components in the motor, and so that if they're in a environment that is what they call Class 1 Division 1, which means that there is propane gases present that if a spark it may cause an explosion. So this basically makes sure there's no spark to cause an explosion, and if there is an explosion, the boom lift won't explode with it. That's like one aspect. We custom manufacture from the ground up any type of aerial lift that you want, including mini cranes as well. We have our own mini crane line. But some of our biggest clients are Boeing, Lockheed Martin, the United States Air Force. If there's any painters in here, you might have used one of our equipment before. But yeah, we are also the owner is a service disabled vet as well. So we're a service disabled veteran owned small business. But we have been serving there for I don't know, the military for nearly 20 years now, giving these equipment. And like all of our biggest clients they're just all the defense sector mostly. We do sell some to Embraer, Spirit Aerosystems, things like that. If it's in an explosion environment, that's what we sell in. But it's just a very unique product because it's a niche within a niche. There's not much, I would say, which luckily for me, there's not much, the perfect word I'm looking for, competition. It's like if you need it, you need it. OSHA is going to demand that you have it in these environments. Otherwise, there's explosions that happen. So that's where we come in. And it's actually a lot of fun. We manufacture everything right here in Waukesha, Wisconsin. So the engineers, the assemblers, the sales, everyone's in house at the same exact location. So it's very small, very tight knit. So it's very enjoyable to work with. You're not dealing with a big company where you're having to deal with as much corporate stuff. And I run all the sales in it in the sense of I am the only salespeople. I use AI to make myself into a multiple agent person. Like I said, SDR AI agents is what I use. So I control them, I teach them, which is funny enough. It's a very unique way to sell. And I spread them out to all of our customers and I monitor that. And then obviously anything in person, I talk to them directly on the phone, and I travel a lot too, which is a lot of fun. I go to all kinds of Air Force bases, Boeing locations. I've seen NASA. I've been inside lots of NASA facilities at this point. You see lots of cool stuff all the time. I'm going to Hawaii in October to go to an oil rig where we're putting on a PM48 for the new Golden Dome sensor that's going on over there. So it's like a lot of really cool projects that you see. The fun part is obviously you're meeting a lot of really cool people, very smart people, countless engineers. I speak to engineers every single day. I speak to scientists every single day, and I speak to a lot of the past military personnel as well who become contractors. So works perfectly for me. I was in Robins Air Force Base last week, talking to, working on some of the machines over there. That was the one I was talking about earlier, where I was changing out a motor. So that's kind of our company, small, but
How many employees, and are you the only one in the sales department, or you have a
I'm
team?
the only one who does sales. We had another sales guy. I fired him because he
That
sucked.
was
And
he was
um,
the guy from the poor guy from the convention,
he was
twiddling his.
for the prevention, unfortunately. But yeah, we hired another guy as well, but he wasn't a good fit, and he just didn't have any drive at all, which is important in sales. Like I said, you have to have drive, and
Yeah. What
uh,
is what is an average machine called? Like, what are the prices of these
depends
areas?
on which one. So if you're doing like a boom lift, the average one is about 350,000. If you're doing like a scissor lift, it's probably about 100 to 150,000. Mini crane usually anywhere from 60 to 100,000. So most of our orders, let's say, we doing a government contract for Robins Air Force, they're in the millions. So you're making good money.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so like I think the biggest contract I have right now is about 45 million. So
Wow,
it's a lot.
good
So
for you. Is and what do you when you're evaluate, like you mentioned, yeah, you're looking at possibly another sales rep for your team. Like, what are some of the qualities? What are you looking for in somebody?
you know,
What
um, at this point, I probably won't hire another sales agent. I have about three other jobs that I would really be wanting to hire someone from. But if I do go down that route as I expand, um, the biggest thing has nothing to do. I'll get your question here in a second, Jose. But the biggest thing is just having that mentality that you'll go get it and being very open. I can't really, which I understand because I used to be this way, but I can't hire someone who can't talk, who can't, like, he was very nervous, that it won't work. Now, can you learn past that? Absolutely, which I recommend you doing. But we're in this situation, we're dealing with such high stakes. You can't really just be fumbling it up and messing it up to the point to where you're having the shakes and the jitters. If you're just someone who's very outgoing, who's very bold, that's it. You don't even have to be the most chatty person in the world. You can just be bold. If I can tell that you're a bold person who has that drive, that's it. It doesn't have to have no schooling, no past experience in sales, and Jordy will know that too. It's just you got to have that bold mentality. That's about it.
confidence? Yeah,
Got to be confident.
yeah.
What's your question,
It
Jose?
applies to all the anytime, any position your company's hiring. It's that you want that quality. What are some of the yeah, talk about some of the others, man. And what are those three positions that you're looking for?
Yeah, I'll go over that, man. I got two questions. First, Jose, what's that?
Hey Tim, I just wanted to ask, do you only sell equipment or do you like rent it out like short-term contracts?
Very rarely do we rent it out, but I am actually working with my engineers to build a new mini crane line that is more compatible to the rental world. I just signed a master service agreement with United Rental to get our mini cranes into that world. So we are currently developing a new mini crane, which is also cool. I get to be in the process of all that, which is exciting work. But it's mostly just sell directly, but we're working on getting the rental for just the mini crane because the explosion proof is just too complicated for the regular rental houses. It'll never happen.
I'll reach out to you after this or through LinkedIn or something because the comm squadron that I work for, we're looking for contractors and things that we can get like some of the wireless access points that are like 3 stories up in a building on the outside and stuff like that, and it's just not feasible for civil engineering and stuff like that. It just bogs them down too much.
Okay, I will leave my email and my number for anyone who wants to call me after this as well. Richard, you're next.
Yes, sir, Tim. Thank you for hopping on the call today. I'm a prior maintainer as well. So I was working on C-17s out here at Travis. So Skyjacks, though. So my question pertains to, you have such a big scope and kind of a niche market, right? At our base, we were using Skyjacks all the time. You're selling a different product. How do you compete with somebody like that, like a Skyjack, who's really established as well in this type of game? What diversifies yourself from that company?
I don't compete with Skyjack at all, actually. I actually sell Skyjack's equipment but what I do is I will take the Skyjack and I will convert it into explosion proof. So I'll get a third of the price of what everyone else pays for Skyjack and then convert it into an EX and then pay, and it ends up, being much more expensive at that point. But no, I partnered with Skyjack, actually. I don't compete with any of the big names because what we do is unlike anything everyone else does. Skyjack doesn't do it. DLG doesn't, Genie doesn't do it. They all actually come to us and send us more of what they call custom jobs because we're the only one in the country that does it.
Sweet. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. John?
Hey, Tim, you kind of already answered my question a little bit because I was looking at it. I'm like, yeah, these are all Skyjacks. Like, why aren't they like making their own explosion proof stuff? But like, I guess my question is like, what makes your product superior? Like, what's stopping other people from like coming into this industry? Do you just have like the best engineers? Like, is it just like the experience? Like, what's kind of like your secret selling sauce?
Well, there's multiple aspects to that. For one, there is obviously, like, we've been doing this for 20 years. We were the only ones to do it for 20 years. But that's not really what stops anybody. If someone wanted to go out and get their engineers, they could do it. But the problem is you have to go through FM certification for your explosion proof for it to be OSHA compliant. So if you don't have your FM certification, guess what? That costs $150,000 per unit. So most companies are not going to be dropping $150,000 for an FM certification. So there's like this bar. So you have to already have good capital to be able to go in there. And then let's say because we're a niche within a niche, JLG and Skyjack are not going to do it because it's such a so much smaller compared to their massive volume. So if you take Skyjack, they're selling to construction companies and all the kind of random maintenance. They don't need explosion proof. Their goal is to send out machine after machine after machine. Ours is we will build anything custom. We'll make it your platform different. We'll put ladders on it. We'll do anything you want. We'll put sinking toolboxes on your Skyjack if you wanted it. But they're never going to do that because it costs too much money compared to the cycle that they're trying to run. Their goal is numbers. Ours is not numbers. Ours is quality and also safety. That's the difference.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I've dealt with explosion proof equipment before, and it is a royal pain in the ass. So I give you guys a lot of props for being able to engineer this.
Yeah, it's something else for sure. So I'll go ahead and go into the 3 jobs that Jordy was asking me to present. And these are readily available for anybody. So, please feel free. Like, I'll leave my email, my number, or talk to Jordy, however you want to do it. If you're interested in any of them, please let me know. You'll be working directly with me for most of the jobs. So first one is shipping and receiving clerk. So this role is like you are going to be doing processing parts orders. So if someone's asking for parts, you'll be processing that. You'll also be doing service calls. So we have a maintenance issue or anyone's added a new attachment, you'll be answering the call for that. You'll be ordering these parts, and you will also be doing directly with our CRM, which is NetSuite. You'll be implementing all the inventory. Every time we get an order, you'll be looking it over, making sure that all the inventory is still up to date, that we don't need to order more inventory, all that kind of. It's very similar to a supply logistics job. You'll also be coordinating all shipping. So let's say we finish a machine, you'll be contacting the client, asking him how he wants it shipped. You'll be ensuring that they have the right truck, the right loading dock, everything like that to be able to. It's a very like I said, if you have any skill in supply or anything like that, perfect. We don't require a degree or anything like that. And then also we'll teach you everything on the CRM and also the equipment. So there's not a lot of prerequisites that come with that. So, and if anyone has any questions on that, want me to elaborate more, feel free to ask. The second job is the assembly technician. This job is where you will actually be building and assembling all of our explosion-proof and custom and mini cranes. The goal with this one is that not only will you be learning how to assemble and build these, you're learning the electrical components on it as well. So you'll get lots of hand-on experience and all that. We will teach you how to build it. It's not like you have to come knowing everything. We would obviously prefer a mechanic, someone who's been in the mechanical realm. And yes, for Jordy, it is on site for all. With that, though, if you have a drive to travel at all, you'll be traveling with me directly on a lot of these service calls because I go to a lot of them. I do my customer relationships while I'm there. And, obviously, if I have to, I'll get on my hands and knees and help you work as well because that's what happened last time. But so you have to be someone who's able to speak directly with the clients. He's someone who is good with clients as well, someone who can be comfortable with traveling. That would be ideal for that one. Not necessarily required, though. But that is our end goal with that one. As if you prove that you're good in the assembly role and you have that drive, there will obviously be a position to, what's the right word I'm looking for, be promoted and make more money out of that role. Especially if you're doing the service calls, you'll be making a lot more money. So. The next role is the controls technician. This is a role that would be very well for anyone who does already working in electrical components. Pretty much what you're doing is uploading program software into our aero lifts. You'll be doing the ANSI testing and all other testing for the unit that involves anything that is electrical. You will also be doing the control system. So you will be fine tuning it, making sure the speeds are right within the direct speeds that were required for each unit, and also changing it if the customer asks for a different speed. So it's a more electrical programming kind of job that would be also open to if you're ever wanting to go down the engineering route. You do not have to have a degree for this, but if you want to progress into engineering, we can look into helping you get your degree in engineering, but most of you should already have a GI Bill anyway. But that is something that we are open to as well. And then having engineers directly on hand to mentor you and teach you if you're wanting to progress into engineering with that role.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And then on today's end of day survey, just list Tim and Bailey Crane if you're interested, and we'll get him all your contact info if anyone's interested in any of those three. Maybe you can send me those three if you have the PDFs of those, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely. I can send this.
Great. That'd be awesome. Tell everyone a little bit about, like, I know you have you like to have interests outside of work too, and staying active I know is a big part. Talk a little bit about why that's so important for you and what you do when you're not working,
Well, I've maintained staying in very good shape for ever since the military, which if you're somebody who wants to get into sales, I do recommend staying in shape. It's a sad truth into sales is that if you look good, it will be better to sell. It's why a lot of women are very successful at sales as well, because men are fools for that. But also it helps with your mentality. Having a strong mind to be able to go before or after work to work out helps with that drive, and also it helps with your own mental state and your physical state. That is something that is very important within sales and any job that you do. You should stay in shape after the military. You should. You don't have to be like I do powerlifting. You do not have to do that. Just something to at least maintain. I would recommend, but it does help you be successful. Most successful people are people who work out. That is honestly a statistic that is true. So don't let yourself go. That is one thing that I do, and it helps with your afterlife and your health. But also, I like hunting. I like fishing. I'm always big into outdoors. I love traveling, which is why I love sales. I mean, I've seen so much of the world, not only with the military, but I've been to almost all 50 states at this point. I've been to 12 different countries. I'm going to Brazil soon as well for Embraer. Like it's a cool life and something that I truly enjoy. And if you're somebody who likes that, you should totally go down that route into sales and pursue a goal to see the world, because when people who are in sales and your boss sees that you are like that, you'll find the job that pays $350,000 a year on base salary, and because the traveling portion is what gets you in sales. Though you can do it remotely, you won't be as successful 9 times out of 10 compared to in-person viewing people and everything like that. So yeah, I'm mostly an outdoors person. That's just how I am. But I do read a lot as well, which is a good portion of learning patience, because we live in a world that has so much instant gratification, that reading is a pastime that nobody really does anymore. But in the world of sales and world of anything really that's good in life, you have to have patience. because I am naturally a very impatient person. I'm very like, let's get it done, let's go, let's go. That does not work, unfortunately, in high-end sales because it's such a long lead time. I'll be working on one deal for a year sometimes, depending on which deal. But
That's
those
awesome.
are just a few things I noticed. So.
And now you got to be a Packers fan and a Badgers fan too.
Well, funny enough, I grew up as a Packers fan because that's for some reason my family liked. I don't know why, but yeah, I already am, so that works out.
Tim, thank you so much, man. This was great. I loved everyone hearing your message and your story. And like I said, Tim's like a year ahead of you guys, so you can see you plan and you strategize, you do all the right things that he's doing, and you can launch your career no matter what path that you choose to take. So, Richard, did you have one more question for him, or was that something else?
Yes, sir. First off, I'm a Bears fan, so I really don't like you now. So let's just take that off the table. But my question pertains to, right, you're going through all of these no's, right? You went door to door for a long time. You were going up to these people that you were meeting and just, experiencing a lot of rejection and that no kind of factor, right? But it didn't scare you away. You're still out there doing it, right? So what motivates you? What gets you out there again and again?
The money, to be honest, because you will say no a lot. I still get no all the time, but whenever I see $45 million, it's hard to not come back. Now, will I see that at first? No. When I was doing, like you said, door to door, I thought 1,500 with that's not me making that much money. It was a $1,500 sale. I was like, this is huge, like that's massive. And then as you progress in your career, you learn like, oh, there's a bigger goal, and you're like, well, it never stops. It's just like how I am with lifting. I can't get a high enough number. You know what I mean? It's weird with the mental state, but it's like I gotta lift the next highest weight. You know what I mean? So you just have that same goal with your sales. It'll work just fine because I still get no all the time. Every day I still get no. But yeah, it's simply just honestly, it's just the money. It's so good. I'm gonna be honest. Like I can't believe where I'm at now compared to where I was a year ago. I mean, it's night and day.
Well, you deserve it, man. You've worked extremely hard to get there. Don't mistake where he is now for luck or anything like that. This was all well thought out. So, Tim, thank you so much, man. We appreciate you. Congrats on all your success. I know I'm rooting for you, and anyone who has an opportunity to join Tim's team, you can see you're gonna get in there with some high chargers. So, thank you so much, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, of course. And if anyone offline wants to talk about disability stuff, I've done it all. I got 100% on my first go. Let me know. I'll help you out. So have a great day, everyone.
Appreciate it. All right.